Joshua chapter 15, Inheritance of Judah. Now the allotment for the tribe of children of Judah, according to their families, was as far as the border of Edom, southward to the wilderness of Zin at the extreme south. Their southern border was from the lower end of the Salt Sea, from the bay projecting southward. Then it proceeded south of the ascent of Akrabim and passed on to Zin, and then went up by the south of Kadesh Barnea and passed on to Hezron, and went up to Adar and turned to Karka. It passed along Asmon and went on to the Wadi of Egypt, where the border ended at the sea. This will be your southern border. The eastern border is the Salt Sea to the end of the Jordan. The border on the northern side was from the bay of the sea at the end of the Jordan. It then went up to Beth Hogla and passed north of Beth Araba and went up to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then the border then went up to Debir from the valley of Achor and turned northward toward Gilgal, facing the ascent of Adumim, which is south of the Wadi. Next, the border passed along to the waters of En Shemesh and ended at En Rogel. Then the border went up to the valley of Ben Hinnon to the southern flank of the Jebusites, that is Jerusalem, and went up to the top of the mountain that flanks the Hinnom Valley to the west, which is at the northern end of the Rephaim Valley. From the top of the mountain, the border curved to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah and went out to the towns of Mount Ephron, then curved to Baalah, that is Kiriath Jearim. From Baalah, the border turned westward to Mount Seir, passed along to the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is Chesalon, and went down to Beth Shemesh, then passed to Timnah. Next, the border went out to the slope north of Ekron, then went out to Shikharon, passed along to Mount Baalah, went to Jabneel, and the border ended at the sea. The western border was the Great Sea and its coastline. These were the borders around the children of Judah according to their clans. Now to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, he gave a portion among the children of Judah at the command of Adonai to Joshua, Kiriath Arba, which is Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. So Caleb drove out from there the three sons of Anak, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, children of Anak. Then he went up from there against the inhabitants of Debir. Now the name of Debir formerly was Kiriath Sefer. Caleb said, I will give my daughter Aksha as a wife to the one who attacks Kiriath Sefer and captures it. So Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's kinsman, captured it, and he gave him his daughter Achsah as a wife. Now it came about when she came to him that she persuaded Othniel to ask her father for a field. When she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, What do you need? Give me a blessing, she said, for you have given me land in the Negev. You should also give me springs of water. So he gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. This is the portion of the tribe of the children of Judah by their clans. The towns at the end of the tribe of the children of Judah toward the border of Edom in the south were Kavzil, Eder, Jagur, Kina, Dimona, Adadah, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithna, Ziph, Telem, Baaloth, Hazor, Hadatah, Kiriath Hezron, that is Hazor, Aman, Shema, Moladah, Hazar Gadah, Heshman, Beth Pelet, Hazar Shual, Beersheba, Biziothia, Bela, Lim, Ezim, Eltolad, Chesil, Horma, Ziglag, Madmana, Sansana, Lebayat, Shilhim, Ain, and Rimmon, a total of 29 towns with their villages. In the lowland, Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoach, En-Ganim, Tapua, Enam, Jarmuth, Adulam, Soko, Izekah, Shearim, Adathaim, Gedera, and Gederothaim, 14 towns with their villages. Zenan, Hadashah, Migdalgad, Dilan, Mizpeh, Jokdil, Lachish, Bazkath, Eglan, Gabon, Lamas, Chithlish, Gederath, Beth Dagon, Neamah, and Makkedah, 16 towns with their villages. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iphthah, Ashna, Nezib, Gela, Aksib, and Marashah, 9 towns with their villages. Ekron with its towns and villages, from Ekron to the sea that were under Ashdod's hand with their villages. Ashdod, its dependencies and its villages. Gaza, its dependencies and its villages, all the way to the Wadi of Egypt and to the coastline of the Great Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jatir, Soko, Dana, Kiriath Sana, that is Debir, Anab, Eshtemo, Anim, Goshen, Holan, and Gilo, 11 towns with their villages. Arab, Ruma, Eshan, Janum, Beth Tapua, Afika, Humta, Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, and Zior, 9 towns with their villages. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Juta, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Kayin, Zibieh, and Timnah, 10 towns with their villages. Halhul, Halhul, Beth Zur, Gedor, Mayorath, Beth Anath, and El-Dekan, 6 towns with their villages. Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 towns with their villages. In the wilderness, Beth Araba, Midin, Sekeka, Nibshan, the city of salt, and Engedi, 6 towns with their villages. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Judah could not drive them out. So the Jebusites continue to live among the children of Judah in Jerusalem to this day. Joshua chapter 16, inheritance of Ephraim. The allotment for the children of Joseph went from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho, on the east to the wilderness, going up from Jericho through the hill country to Bethel. From Bethel it went out to Luz, then continued to the border of the Archites at Adaroth. Then it went down westward to the territory of the Japhilites, to the territory of Lower Beth Horon, to Gezer, and ended at the sea. So the children of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, received their portion. Now the territory of the children of Ephraim, according to their clans, was as follows. The border of their inheritance eastward was Atrath Adar up to the upper Beth Horon. Then the border went out westward at Methah on the north. Then the border turned eastward to Taanath Shiloh and passed by it on the east of Janoah. Then it went down from Janoah to Adaroth and to Nearah, and reached Jericho and came out at the Jordan. From Tapua, the border went along the westward to the Wadi Kana and ended at the sea. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim according to their clans, together with the towns which were set apart for the children of Ephraim in the midst of the inheritance of the children of Manasseh, then these towns with their villages. But they did not drive out the Canaanites that were living in Gezer, so the Canaanites continue to live in the midst of Ephraim to this day, and became forced laborers. Chapter Joshua 17, inheritance of Manasseh. Now this was the allotment for the tribe of Manasseh, the firstborn of Joseph, to Machir, the firstborn Manasseh, the father of Gilead, since he was a man of war. He got Gilead and Bashan. So for the rest of the children of Manasseh, according to their clans, for the sons of Abiezer, Helek, Asriel, Shechem, Hefer, and Shemida, these were the male children of Manasseh and sons of Joseph according to their clans. Zelophehad, son of Hefer, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons but only daughters. These were the names of his daughters: Mala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. So they appeared before Eleazar the Cohen, before Joshua son of Nun, and before the leaders, saying, Adonai commanded Moses to give us the inheritance among our kinsmen. Therefore, according to the commandment of Adonai, he gave them a portion among their father's kinsmen. Thus 10 shares fell to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, that is beyond the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received a portion among his sons. Meanwhile, the land of the Gilead belonged to the rest of the sons of Manasseh. The border of Manasseh ran from Asher to Mikmethath, which is facing Shechem. Then the border went along the southward to the inhabitants of En Tapua. The land of Tapua belonged to Manasseh, but Tapua on the upper border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. Next the border went down to the Wadi Kana, south of the Wadi, by towns belonging to Ephraim among Manasseh's towns. But the border of Manasseh was on the north side of the Wadi and ended at the sea. The south side belonged to Ephraim, and the north side belonged to Manasseh, and the sea was its border. They reached to Asher on the north and to Issachar in the east. With Issachar and Asher, Manasseh possessed Bethshan and its villages, Ibleam and its villages, the inhabitants of Dor and its villages, the inhabitants of Endor and its villages, the inhabitants of Taanach and its villages, the inhabitants of Megiddo and its villages, 3 regions. Yet the children of Manasseh could not take possession of these towns, because the Canaanites were resolved to live in that land. But when Bnei Israel came stronger, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but did not utterly dispossess them. Then the children of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, Why have you given us only one allotment, one portion for our inheritance? For we are a numerous people, whom Adonai is thus far blessed. So Joshua said to them, If you have so many people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself there in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you. The hill country will not be enough for us. The children of Joseph replied, But all the Canaanites who inhabit the valley, and the land have iron chariots, both those who were in Bethshan and its villages, and those who were in the Jezreel valley. But Joshua spoke to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, You are a numerous people with great strength. You shouldn't have just one allotment, because the hill country should be yours. Though it is a forest, you will clear it, and to the farthest borders it will be yours. For you will drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots, and even though they are strong.